Everyone, it's Lenny with Literary Gladiators. I'm back with a new video, and clearly, if you look behind me, I'm back in my classroom. So today we'll be talking about the second book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, called The Drawing of Three. Quick recap on the first book, which is called The Gunslinger. Basically, in the first book, we meet a character named Roland, who is the anti-hero of this story, the character where we really follow throughout, although other viewpoint characters do come into play. But with Roland, we do, again, he's really the essential main character of this saga, I guess is a good word. So this book picks up right where the previous one left off. One thing I did want to talk about that was, I don't think I mentioned in the previous video, was a line by the boy Jake Chambers, who is the boy that Roland ends up meeting on his way through the first book. Jake says at some point, and I'm not going to give you the context, so it might be a little confusing. I don't want to give any spoilers. So Jake says something along the lines of, "Go then, there are other worlds than these." So the world that he is in with Roland at the time is called Midworld. And again, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the first video, but this series is considered, or what Stephen King considers, his Lord of the Rings. It's what he wanted to build upon. So there is inspiration from that. So this world is called Midworld, where obviously Lord of the Rings, it's Middle Earth. So go then, there are other worlds than these. Basically, that's what this book kind of starts delving into. If you remember from the last video, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this one, Roland's world, or excuse me, the worlds of this book are all connected to Stephen King's universe. All his books connect to the Dark Tower in some way or another. Not all, I'd say 90% of them, although I have seen people stretch some to fit in, but you'll see characters like mentioned like Cujo, or one of the later books in this series, you get a reference to Captain Trips. So basically everything connects into the Dark Tower. And then later in the Dark Tower series, it really connects in, which is actually not a strong point, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So back to Drawing of the Three. Like I said, it does start right where the Gunslinger leaves off, and the Drawing of the Three is actually Roland wakes up on this beach. He gets almost immediately attacked by these lobster monsters who basically take some of his fingers, eat some of his fingers and his toes, and he's practically almost gets killed. So as he's roaming across this beach, he ends up coming across a door. And this is where the Drawing of the Three comes in. So the door, it's literally just a door standing up by itself. Nothing around it, no walls, just standing all by itself. And he opens the door and gets transported into one of the three he will be pulling out of our world, New York. And that's where the worlds kind of merge now. So from this point on in the series, we will get a mix of both worlds. You'll see more connections in Roland's world that tie into our world in some way or another. So it's very much like a multiverse type story. Drawing the Three is not necessarily my favorite of the Dark Tower books. It is definitely a good book, and reading it over again, Stephen King, one of the things you can always say about him is his characterization is just wonderful, and it's seen in this book as well. So the first character we meet, aside from Roland, is a man named Eddie Dean. He's early 20s, I think he's like 23 or 24, and he's addicted to heroin. Roland has to take him because he will become part of Roland's quartet. What a quartet is basically people who think Ka is almost like karma or fate, and these are the people who belong to you in that. Like you are part of, almost like a family in a way. So he draws Eddie, and then he'll end up drawing, he has two more doors to get through, Drawing of the Three. I don't really want to go into too much further, but again, book is really good. Again, it's one of my tops in the Dark Tower series, but after book 4, it's kind of downhill, in my opinion. But book 4, it probably makes up for a lot of the negative of the other ones, but we'll get there. All right, that's it for me today. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you with the next video, which is the Wastelands. Bye, guys.